So good morning. Welcome back. Most of us have our lives restored, our homes restored to power here in Portland. And we're not right now in the snow and ice storm, though we are having the wind. So I was saying last week that we're in the transition from the vata to the kapha season right now. That means we're going from the air element, the ether element, into the earth and water element. So vata season is our winter, and kapha season is our spring. So with the wind we have in the Pacific Northwest today, we still have a need for grounding that vata dosha. And kapha is the most grounded of the doshas. So let's see how we shall proceed. I'm glad you're here for class. So you can rest your hands in your lap as you like, and you're welcome to close your eyes as well. And if you've had a kind of windy mind, even if you don't live in the Pacific Northwest or Alaska, if you've had a windy mind, just consider the windy nature of the mind slowing down, as if you were tracing the kite string, not the kite, but the kite string back down to the hand that is holding the kite string. Which means you have to take your attention from the kite and bring it back down to the hand holding the kite string. To make this metaphor work in the body, you could choose any one tangible sensation of being connected to the ground. And whenever your mind starts to travel up the kite string again to the kite in the windy sky, you can imagine bringing it back down to one tangible sensation in the present moment. Now, to further establish that your mind can be on that which is most grounded, not on the kite in the windy sky, let's start using the breath. Concentrate your breath for now as we take a seat. Concentrate it in the lower hemisphere of the torso. So an inhale that fills out the pelvis, low back, side waist, and exhale to tone that same region of the body. Now I'd like you to picture as you're doing that breath that expands and then tones, picture it going incrementally, right? So it's not like we go from empty to full. We go from the emptiness of the exhale and that tone to an ever-increasing sense of expanding the breath. And then we go from that expansive place to an ever-increasing sense of tone. So do that methodically for about 3 more breath cycles, please. And if at any time your mind is distracted by the kite in the sky, come back down the kite string and add additional concentration to the breath, to that which is grounding you right now. And then please bring your hands to your heart. Notice any difference that occurs, even a small difference from the time you sat down and through those breath cycles to the place that you feel you are right now. And we're going to chant the Gayatri Mantra. Let's begin. Om Bhurva Suvah Tat Savitor Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimoi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayata Om Bhurva Suvah Tat Savitor Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimoi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayata Om Bhurva Suvah Tat Savitor Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimoi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayata Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands. Open your eyes. So this morning I was practicing something in my own practice, and I want to ask a brief question for those of you that I can see, or you can put it in the chat if you prefer it that way. Is there anybody in class who does not have 2 blankets and a chair available today? If you don't have that, you could raise your hand. Okay, I see it's pretty good. I'm just sifting through. All right, you could also put that in the chat if you need to. And I know Melissa may not have a chair, but she has a dog crate. She knows what I'm talking about when I say that. All right, thank you for confirming. So let's do some pranayama that really focuses on the lower hemisphere of the body. Melissa says, okay, you have 2 chairs. Okay, all right, you're doing good. In your RV lifestyle, you have 2 chairs. So I want the pranayama to be in the lower hemisphere of the body today, which means we're going to be focusing on exhale and then exhale suspension. So to begin, clasp your hands and put them on top of your head like yesterday and Sunday we did this. I know you weren't all there, but we're going to review it now. Press up with the crown of your skull into your hands and pull your hands down on top of your head. So you're capping the torso, but you're also going to stabilize the inner body by pressing up into that downward pressure from your hands. And then inhale in the first and middle third of the torso. And then exhale from the first third of the low belly. And make that the strongest part of the exhale for right now. Inhale, first and middle thirds. Exhale from the first third. And do that twice more with some extra strength in the Ujjayi breath today. Now last one. At the end of the exhale, that last exhale, then release your hands to your lap. Pause and notice. You may notice a sensation at the top of the head. Let's see if you can connect that sensation to the base of the spine also. So a channel of energy running from the pelvic floor up to the crown of the skull. We're going to return to that practice in a few moments. Right now, I'd like you to clasp the hands to do the practice we've been doing. Point the heels of your hands straight down in front of your hips and your knees. Gaze down, and beginning with your Ujjayi breath, start the process of raising the breath, your arms, your heart, and your eyes together. Now, keeping your right hip grounded, exhale, side bend to your left. Inhale up to center, noticing that the pelvis is a stabilizing force there. Exhale, side bend to your right, keeping the left low belly toned. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, twist to your right and focus on the exhale being in the lower third of your torso. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, twist left and focus on the strength of the twist in the low belly. Inhale to center, rising up. Now exhale, bring the hands down behind your head as we've been doing for about 5 or 6 weeks now. You're going to inhale, elbows forward, elbows up, lift your chest and your heart. And then exhale, level your head, twist to your right. Inhale to center. And twist to your left. Inhale to center. And now exhale, push up. Inhale, press out. And exhale, hands to your heart. And notice the feeling tone from the base of your pelvis up through the spine, through your heart to the crown of your skull. Now rest your hands out over your knees. We're going to practice Bhastrika to help energize the belly and also clear the space we're going to need for exhale suspension. So first is Bhastrika. All right, so a little sip of an inhale. Exhale. Now inhale first, middle, and upper. Inhale up to suspension. Exhale slowly and completely. Tone the first third of the abdomen as deeply as you can, slowly, slowly to the end of the exhale. And then relax the belly to receive the next inhale. And then same thing one more time, please. A little sip of an inhale first. Exhale. Inhale up to suspension. And then exhale smoothly and completely to the end of the exhale. So you exhale as smoothly as you're able to. And then deeply relax the belly. Now we're going to be doing the exhale suspension. So I want to give a little bit of instruction about that. And I'm looking for my other headsets in case I need it. Okay, there we go. All right. So what's going to happen here, you'll have your hands on top of your head for this practice. We're going to inhale first, middle, and upper. We'll hold the breath briefly. Then we're going to exhale and tone the belly and the pelvis as much as possible. At the end of that exhale, when the lungs are as empty as they can be, without inhaling, you're just going to relax the exhale muscles. That's going to be brief. Then you tone the belly again before you inhale. Okay, so let me change my microphone. In fact, I'll change it after this pranayama, but I'll get myself set. So clasping your hands. Okay. Rest your hands on top of your head. Now inhale first, middle, and upper. As you begin exhaling, lower the arms slowly, slowly. Exhale as completely as possible. At the end of the exhale, you've toned the bellies really completely. Without inhaling, relax the belly muscles. Then tone the belly and inhale again. Let it be a relaxed inhale. Now we're going to do it again. Okay, so please clasp your hands. Place them on top of your head. Then inhale first, middle, and upper. Hold the breath briefly. Release your hands down as you're exhaling. It's a long, steady, smooth exhale, making the most tone in the deep low belly. Without inhaling, relax your exhale muscles. Then tone the abdomen and inhale again into the belly. Just make a note to yourself what that feels like. We are going to keep learning it, and we're going to do some work today to release tension in the belly so this becomes easier and easier to understand. Okay, so let's now come up to standing, please, and I'll change my camera. There you go. So up to standing with 2 blocks, please. Take a wide stance. Lift up through your heart. Energize your legs and then pour yourself forward and down over the tops of your thighs. Put the blocks out in front for your hands. And we're going to try this process now with the lungs and the torso a little bit inverted. So while we're still close enough to the previous actions and the instructions, let's do it where you inhale first, middle, and upper thirds of the torso. You're going to hold the breath just briefly up there. And then exhale from the lowest third of the pelvis primarily. Even though the other parts of the torso are helping, strengthen your exhale process in the deep low belly. Without inhaling, relax the muscles that made the exhale. Then tone the abdomen before you inhale. Exhale, and then try the process one more time. So it's really like a 2 or 3 breath cycle process because 1 breath cycle is for the suspension, and about 2 breaths then to refresh your attention. Okay, so let's inhale. Hold it briefly. And then you're going to exhale slowly and deliberately. The pelvic floor, the deep low abdomen, the region just above the pubic bone, up towards the belly button. Without inhaling, deeply relax all of those muscles that made the exhale. Then tone the belly and inhale without gasping. And having a sense of that process now, walk your hands back towards your feet, up to your hips, and please rise up to standing. Let's go heel toe to center. Okay, thank you for experimenting. Now we're going to pick up one other practice from this past weekend. When we do the sun salutation, we're going to be going into Asana. And let me just explain. We're going to be down Asana, but it's going to become like a back bend. And then we're going to be going backwards to Vadrasana. So it's going to have that kind of action to it. So if you're someone who wants padding for the knees, then please put a blanket on your mat. Otherwise, you can do it with the double crisscrossment. And please join your hands. We will not be doing suspensions while we do the sun salutation. So Ujjayi, inhale the hands down, wide and up. Now exhale, come down to chair pose and focus on how you have a strong exhale that becomes a moment of silence and then an inhale, rise up with the inhale. And then exhale, Uttanasana, energize your legs and focus on ending the exhale, smoothly transition to an inhalation. Bring your heart forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Okay, exhale, left toes back. First will be the crescent lunge. So inhale, rise smoothly, steadily. Complete the inhale at the top. And then exhale, arms wide, forward and down. Lightly touch your fingertips to the blocks. Now inhale, lower your left knee and lift your chest and heart with your fingers on your blocks. Exhale, press down and bring your torso into Parsvottanasana.
Inhale, glide forward. One long breath, touch the left knee down, raise your chest and your heart. Exhale, glide backwards. One long, steady exhalation. Inhale, glide forward again. We'll do it twice more. One more time. You're stretching this sort of front line of the body and then the back line of the body. Now let's inhale and please step forward with your left foot, heart forward, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale for a deep bow to the legs. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, hands to your heart. Now second side. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Chair pose. Make a smooth transition from the end of your exhale to the beginning of your inhale. Rise up, upward hands pose. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, glide forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Okay, right toes back. Inhale to rise. Exhale, descend. Take your time, squeeze the right butt muscles. They're not in Shavasana. Inhale, glide forward so that your left knee comes forward towards the toes, right knee to the floor. Raise your chest and heart. Exhale, Parsvottanasana. Inhale, glide forward. In your own timing, exhale to glide back. And please do that twice more. I have a little meow in the other room. Let me see if she's going to come. You were sleeping when class started. Now all is well. You'll finish your second one. And then let's inhale, step the right foot forward, heart forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale for a deep bow to the legs. Inhale, rise up, upward hands pose. And exhale, hands to the heart. Now we're going to deepen that Anjaneyasana part. So let's inhale, hands lower, wide, mid, upper. Okay, chair pose. Smoothly begin the inhale, root down to rise up. Exhale, Uttanasana. Tone the inner arches, inner thighs. Complete the exhale smoothly. Inhale smoothly. Exhale, left toes straight back. Again, it's going to be the crescent lunge first. So inhale to rise up at your body's pace. Good, and exhale to descend. Yeah. Okay, now inhale, glide forward to Anjaneyasana. Lift up through your chest and heart. Take the blocks tall, and when you push down here with the fingers, go up and back through the chest and the heart. Notice also what happens at the left hip flexors, the left low belly. And then exhale and roll the blocks back down to medium. Very good. And inhale back to Parsvottanasana. Yeah. Okay, let's inhale to the basic lunge and step forward, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale for your Uttanasana. Concentrate again on how you complete the exhale. That smoothly becomes the inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, hands to your heart. Second side, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, chair pose, and watch how the exhale gets deeper, smoother, more complete. Inhale, smoothly rising, rising. Okay, Uttanasana, tone your inner arches, inner thighs, and the deep low belly as you complete the exhalation. Inhale, glide forward. Now take your right toes back to your basic lunge. Squeeze the right butt muscles. Inhale, rise. And exhale, coming forward. Let's touch the fingers to the medium blocks. Inhale, glide your right knee down, left knee forward. Blocks up on the tall setting, and then push down. So you're going up and over, right? This downward press, it's really important that we're emphasizing not how deeply forward your Anjaneyasana can go, but how you can open the right hip flexors, right psoas, and then chest and heart and throat. And then exhale and bring the blocks down to the medium setting. And let's use the inhale to glide back to Parsvottanasana. Now inhale, basic lunge. And we'll step backwards to plank pose with the exhale. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale thoughtfully and smoothly. Inhale, plank. Okay, lower your knees lightly to the floor. Point the toes. Separate the knees as you need to come down to child's pose. And back to the first thing I said in class today, where you're tracing the mind down from the windy sky, no longer enamored with the kite, nor the little tails of the kite, but coming down, down, down. Okay, now please walk your hands back towards your knees. I feel a little bit like Mr. Rogers right now. I'm going to say something like, and put on your smiling face, because we're about to do something with the belly bolster. So, hey, honey, were you having a nap before? You were so sleepy. And class was starting, and then you woke up and nobody was there. And that was hard. Yeah. Yeah. You're glad to be reunited. We're all here. Your brother's in the basket. Yeah. Okay, so take your blanket, please, and you're going to unfold it. And then I'm going to ask you to roll it. And one reason to roll it is that you're going to get to roll it the distance, the amount of rolling that you want to do. Now, for some of you, what's going to happen is that the distance between your hips and your ribs is shorter than the thickness of the blanket is right here. So in that case, you have to unroll it somewhat, because I want it to fit between the pelvis and the ribs. Because that may then make this seem like it's too close to the ground, we take a second blanket to elevate the first blanket. And you can do that really simply, just like this. Okay, and then we put the belly button at the high point right here. Pardon me. And when you place the belly button, I'm going to ask you to place the belly button, but to have the ability to bend your knees. So your feet, you're going to bend the knees kind of like windshield wipers. Just know where that's going to be. And then you can come down to pray for your friends who are in the class or to pray for yourself. But if one thing you realize is that the blanket indeed is too thick between your ribs and your hips, I'd like you to unroll it partway. So our practice here is going to be you inhale and let yourself press down against the blanket, out against the blanket, sideways, even into the back waist with the inhalation. And then exhale slowly. The belly bolster going more deeply as you exhale. And begin again with an inhale when you are ready to. Now the reason that the knees are bent is that we're going to tip the shins down to one side. So I'd like you to turn your head to your left and tip your shins to your right. And try breathing into the right hemisphere of the belly primarily. And see if you can do one more deliberate breath where the inhale, you're letting it press against the blanket. You're actually using force and intention to expand the breath. And the exhale is a slow process where the belly bolster goes more deeply because you're melting the belly around the blanket. And then bring your shins to center, turn your head to your right, and tip your shins down to your left. And do at least one, maybe two of those deliberately larger breath cycles. You're releasing tension on the exhale. And then roll that to center. Take your feet back down to the floor. Place your forearms under your shoulders so your elbows are on the floor. Press down with the upper arms and elbows and then walk back towards your blanket. Bring your knees forward and reach into child's pose, taking a block for your head. Invite the abdomen to relax. And then walk your hands back towards your knees and rise up to kneeling. Okay. So you have this rolled blanket. Let's just make sure it's still rolled and it's comfortable enough. You have your folded blanket. We'll put those aside for right now. Okay, welcome to the land of belly bolster. Hope you survived that okay. Let's check and see what Asana feels like. So put the two blocks tall and step your right foot through again. Okay, with the left knee on the floor behind you, you can either have the toes tucked under or pointed. That'll be up to you. Really, it's up to your knee, your kneecap. But I would like you now to press down with the blocks. And this time it's going to seem strange, but I want you to go up with the inner body, but gaze down. So you're pressing down with the arms and the fingertips, press down with your left knee, gaze down. So the pathway up is going to be pubic bone, inner belly, up through the heart, up through the back of the throat and the base of the skull. There should be no sense that you're hanging into your right hip joint right now, but a sense that you're addressing the left hip flexors, left psoas, the left inner belly. And then let the chest, the shoulders, collarbones, heart, and head participate. Okay, pour yourself over your right leg. We can put the two blocks medium. Straighten the left leg behind you and let's step to plank pose. And then bring the left foot forward between your blocks and touch the right knee down. Return the blocks to the tall setting. Press down with your right knee, arms and fingers. Gaze down. And lift from the inner belly. Imagine the right side of the belly and even the psoas kind of backing up towards the back of your waist, the kidney, up through the heart, the back of your throat, the base of your skull. So the downward force of what you're doing is actually important to how you're stabilizing to more effectively address the psoas muscle. Keeping that internal sense of what is moving downwards. Now you may add your heart and collarbones going upwards. And then exhale to release. Place the blocks medium. Again, straighten your right leg. Step back to plank. Lower the knees down. Take one block to sit on. And come to Vadrasana. Rest your palms face down. And we're going to put these two blocks like a little diamond. And we're going to, our triangle, you can see that also. This is for the pose called Badakhanasana. So take a seat, please, on the two blocks. Put the soles of the feet together. You may come forward, downward and inward. Invite the mind to surrender to the body. The breath can be really simple right now. You can imagine again that sometimes the mind is like pretty windy and our attention goes to the kite in the sky. But You can trace your mind back down the kite string to any one sensation that is grounding in the present moment. You walk your hands back to your knees. Please rise up. Just sitting, and now we're going to use a chair and 2 blankets. So I'll get my chair. So one of the ways that yoga balances the energy patterns in the body is we take certain positions in relationship to gravity, and that changes the flow of things like circulation and lymph, but also what we call the vayus in yoga, the subtle pranas. The 5 pranas are called the 5 vayus also. So take this blanket, please, lengthwise, fold it in half twice. Do the same with the other one. And I like it to have the 2 edges of the blanket like this, stacked really well. And what we're going to do is put those 2 stacked edges facing away from the chair. So I have to turn mine over. Now the place that I would like you to end up here is that the edge of the blanket right there is going to be between the upper corners of your shoulder blades and down. Maybe if you call that down. Let me show you on my upper back. So it's going to be that the edge of the blanket is right about here. So if these are the upper corners of my shoulder blades where my thumb is, my fingers where they reach down to, corresponding on the front of the body, that same spot on the front is right here. So I was going to do a cross section of the torso. The blanket is only this high up on the torso, but it's on the back side. Now, for some of you, that's not a very flexible spot, so you're going to need to have another blanket that you support your head with. But first, please watch. So if I sit and go slowly backwards, I don't always know that I got my blanket set just right the first time. No, but this time I did, so I don't get to show you what happens when you don't get it. So I did get it just right. So the blanket ends right about here on my upper back. My shoulders don't completely make it to the floor, but there's room for them to melt down towards the floor. The arms can go into Cactus Pose. The back of the neck is long, so your gaze is inwards. Because the legs are elevated, you have this, it's called a double waterfall. Waterfall at the thighs and a waterfall at the heart. So you could then also choose to cover the eyes, like you see me doing here, like a little envelope. So the idea in this pose is that we are inviting the brain and the mind now to be the most grounded part of the pose. It's the most connected to the earth, right? And so considering that, you have this double waterfall, as I was saying. Let's imagine that the brain and the senses are going to be refreshed because they are having this flow of circulation and prana and nourishment. particularly nice if you've also covered the eyes and the ears, that you feel like you're really drawing the curtains on the outside world for a certain amount of time. Allow your breathing and all the efforts of class to slow down. You might begin to notice if the breath on its own comes to a little quality of ease, maybe a deepening sense of ease as the moments go by. Moment to moment, do your best not to follow thoughts, not to follow the kite in the windy sky, but to stay grounded and simply noticing these sensations, the rhythm of this breath. Allow all five senses to be renewed, for your brain to get replenished. The mind has nowhere else to go. Just these sensations, the rhythm of this breath in this moment. Allow this replenishing process to go a few degrees more deeply now. Releasing any mental resistance. With awareness of where you are in the physical present moment. Tone your lower abdomen and slide your feet front edge of the chair. So your knees will come towards your chest. The lumbar spine may go more firmly down against the blanket. If you covered your head with your extra blanket, you can undo that now. And then plan to roll thoughtfully down to your side. You are coming down from 2 blankets and from a chair. Press down against the floor and bring yourself up to your seat. When you come up to this seat for meditation, I'd like you to pause. I know some of you have to go from class shortly, but see if you can pause and acclimate to sense where the blanket was in the mid to upper thoracic spine. And how does this support a natural sense of the hood of Jalandhara Bandha? The hood is like the cobra's hood. Join your hands together at your heart. Thank you all so much for being here. Namaste. I will come up to see you. I will change my camera view so you can also see me. Anna is spider today and Vincent was ant. And how are you feeling then? I see some are still resting. I'm so glad that you're still resting. So glad.